Hello, everybody, and welcome to We Talk. I'm Lisa Parisi from We Watch, and joining me today we have our mystery reader for June. Hello and welcome. We have with us Niña Cabaguio, and she is a coordinator with the 519 EarlyON program. It's called the Glitterbug program, 2S LGBT plus program, EarlyON Mobile Program. Niña is also an early childhood educator, and so a lot of good reasons to have her here with us today as we talk about our great book of the month, which is All Are Welcome. So the book All Are Welcome, it's a beautiful book. It fits in very well with June, which is Pride Month. And also is very great way to talk about and start a conversation about diversity and inclusion. So thank you for joining us, Niña. How are you today?
Thank you so much for having me. It's such a pleasure to be here. I'm feeling great. I'm very happy to be here and having this chat with you, Lisa. So thank you.
Thank you. And so Niña has been our mystery reader. Obviously, she's recorded her reading the program, and she does a lot of work within the Glitterbug program around the idea of inclusion and diversity, but also she does lots of book readings and stuff. So we're really happy to have you with us. And at the end of this, the link to you reading All Are Welcome will be posted on the We Watch site. So I thought maybe, Niña, you can give us a little start by telling us a little bit about the 519 Glitterbug program and what you guys do.
Definitely. So the 519, which is where I'm coming from right now, actually, as well, I'm in the office, is a TLS LGBTQ community center located in downtown core of Toronto. So we're right in the middle of downtown core, Church and Wellesley Village. We're also known as the Village, this neighborhood, and we offer services and programs from birth all the way to senior. So we have our EarlyON program for our 0 to 6. We have our youth program, several youth programming, our adults programming, and then senior programs as well. One of them is if you need any assistance with legal as well, clinic as well, we also have those available. Where I'm coming from is from our EarlyON childhood family program called Glitterbug program. So Glitterbug program is a very unique 2S LGBTQ plus EarlyON mobile program that goes to several EarlyON sites across the city of Toronto and more to promote inclusion and affirmation of gender and sexual diversity for our little ones, so for our children and their adults. And we do this through what we call a play-based learning approach. So what we mean by that is that we don't go in front of a classroom and teach, hey, this is how to be inclusive. This is A, B, C, D, E. What we do is we do it in a playful way. So we do it through singing songs. How can we turn our traditional songs into a more inclusive way? How can we have a casual chat, an important casual chat of how to have that affirming space for our little ones and our community? And we also do an interactive and affirming workshops for the parents, caregiver, and guardians that talks about things such as how can we have an inclusive language? How can we have an affirming environment? We also do give supports, one-on-one supports. So if any folks will need some one-on-one time to just discuss and chat or just to have that space, we're here. And also resources as well. So many services available here at the 519 and Glitterbug itself.
Excellent. So many things you mentioned there I want to pick up on as you spoke. I think one of the first ones maybe is to talk a little bit about diversity and a definition of diversity and what that means.
So diversity is such a big word. It's such a big word for our little ones, especially. And so to put it in simple terms for our little ones as well, for our adults explaining what diversity is for our little friends, it's a combination of who we are, of our representation. So it's about how we express ourselves, where we come from. So it could be our ethnic, our culture, our religion. It also talks about our gender and sexual diversity as well. So what does that mean? So gender is not just binary, but it's non-binary. It's not just boy and girl, but it's among that spectrum and out of that spectrum. And same thing with our sexual diversity as well. So in simple terms, it's about representing who we are and coming together into that big world, in this big world, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, and I like the the focus again of the Glitterbug program, but also as you were mentioning about diversity, talking not only there's lots of types of diversity, and in the childcare environment we run into that as well around culture. So there's differences in culture, there's differences in gender identity, in the makeup of a family structure. There's lots of diversity, and so ensuring that all the children feel welcome in our homes is always important, and being accepting of the range of diverse family structures and people that we have that we interact with. You mentioned a little bit about suggestions. You're saying that how educators, we don't often go up there and talk about inclusion and diversity with children. And so do you have some tips or maybe some ideas that you share with childhood educators about how to ensure that their space is an inclusive one?
For sure. So first off, using the correct pronouns of our little friends, so of our children. So what are the pronouns that they use? So today Nina uses the she her pronouns, so I use the she her pronouns. But how about the children in our space? What pronouns do they use? What name do they use? So their name may differ from their certificate, but they have a preferred name that they like to use. Now you may be wondering, their children, what do they have to say about this? What do they know about pronouns? What do they know about preferred names? So it's a very great starter way to say, hey, you can be who you are at a very young age. So that's why conversations such as this is very important. So it's if you want to if your birth name, let's say, is Rachel, and you don't want to go as Rachel anymore because it doesn't feel like you anymore, then you're more than welcome to do so. And it's up to us as educators, as adults, to say, hey, they want to be called as Jason instead of Rachel. And that's totally okay, and that's totally valid. And in regards to pronouns, pronouns change as children grows up. So it really pronouns change as how they identify themselves. So sometimes I feel like a they and them. Sometimes I feel like a she, her. Today I'm going by she, her pronouns. So for little kids, pronouns is a way for them to also identify themselves. And it's when we're using the correct pronouns, they feel a sense of confidence, a sense of individuality. And that's what we're here for as educators, is to empower them and make them comfortable and make them powerful, make them who they are, and loving them for exactly who they are, and for us to accept that as well.
You talked a little bit about in the program that you are the coordinator of, you talk about play-based learning, which is at WeWatch, we also, all our providers and our educational programs are based in play as well, so it's very aligned. You were talking about being more inclusive using in stories and in songs. Do you have any specific examples that you guys leverage?
For sure. So for example, the song
Or
Five Little.
adaptations that you make? Sorry,
No worries. So the song Five Little Ducks, Five Little Ducks went out one day, and we always sing it as Mother Duck says quack, 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 quack. So instead of saying mother duck, we can always change that into a more gender expansive language, which is a language that does not infer gender. So instead of a mother duck or father duck, we could say parent duck says, or caregiver duck says, or sibling duck says quack, 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 and so on and so forth. Another way to spin that song around is also using non-binary terminology. So for example, instead of using mama duck says, we can say pama duck says, or dama duck says. So it's our non-binary form of parent names, because some parents may not want to be called mama. Some parents may not want to be called papa, but they want to be called mapa, which is a combination of mama and papa, and so on and so forth. Another example could be not labeling toys as girl toys and not labeling toys as boys toys, but instead including everybody into whatever play they want to be played in. This also includes the clothes that they wear. For example, in the dramatic area, what do they want to be? What do they want to pretend to be as? If they want to be a firefighter, they can be a firefighter. If they want to be a princess, let them be a princess, and so on and so forth. Um, and this also includes the talking to the adults in a child's life. So not assuming right away that, oh, they want to be called mama, they want to be called papa. But instead using that, again, gender expansive language of saying, the parent is here. Oh, Jason, your parent is here. Let's go give them a hug or something like that. And yeah.
Yeah, that's good. I like the when you think about dramatic play and you think about I think we talked earlier another day we talked when we were talking about color has no gender, right? And so really not forcing children to wear colors or if they are gravitating towards certain colors or certain toys, ensuring that um, they feel safe and they feel like it's fine to play in whatever way they want to play, in terms of color and gender toys that they're not specific, right? And so I think it's something that we do promote a lot as well, and I think it's an important reminder for our providers and for our parents as well to have children have that feeling of inclusivity. Was there any part of the book that you enjoyed in particular when you were reading it?
I really do. One of the most favorite part is how everybody, well, it's not really a favorite part. I think it's the whole
Yeah,
book itself, how
yeah,
everybody just felt so welcome in the classroom. And there's such a diverse set of students in a classroom, and everybody just felt so welcome. Everybody, there is no I guess, separation. There's no discrimination happening based from the pictures and the stories and the words. So everybody, with all the smiling faces that the students have in the classroom, that really shows that they feel welcome. They felt safe. They felt like they belong. And that's how I believe all classrooms should be. In an environment is that sense of feeling of belonging and welcoming and being included in every space or environment that they're in.
yeah, absolutely. It's certainly what we all strive to do in our daycare homes, and I find that children, I'm sure everyone who's joining us on this call as well as you, is children themselves really don't see differences as much as adults see the differences for them, right? When there's other children there, they love to play with other children. It doesn't seem to be a natural inclination for children to notice differences so much as just that there's a friend there that they want to play. And so, but learning about those different cultures and different structures and different experiences, I think, and normalizing them right from childhood is a really important piece that I know we're all striving to do. We're doing some fun stuff along with the book this month. Providers are kind of building banners where the children are completing who they are and then stringing them all together to show that they all belong. They're all in the daycare home, they're in the community, and so on. So it's some good stuff that goes along with the book. I guess maybe my last question for you is, are there any particular challenges that you've noticed in terms of bias that children or educators have that we should be mindful of?
And I think you kind of touched base a little bit about it as well, Lisa, about that it's the adults mainly who kind of put these biases on the children.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of traditional way of thinking still in this world,
Mm-hmm.
and we can't. And that's just the nature of our world, just the nature of society, that boys can only do this and girls can only do this, boys can only wear this, and so on and so forth. So there are still a lot of traditional way of thinking and doing that we need to break apart from, that we need to um, that we need to step away from, because that's how we empower children through is through letting them being who they are, exactly who they are, and really stepping away from, you can't do this because you're a girl, you can't do this because you're a boy, but letting them do whatever they want, whatever they're comfortable with, letting them express how they want to express. If they want to wear a dress one day to school, let them wear a dress to school. And the other biases that I've also came across with, it's very personal to me as well, is cultural differences and religious beliefs. So it's in certain culture, the topic of LGBTQ2S is very taboo. It's either taboo or they don't want to talk about it or they're in denial.
Mm-hmm.
So having this conversation at a very young age, or having this conversation in the community, is so important. It's so vital, because it's just one little thing. It's simple as asking someone else's pronouns can go very, very far. It can really make someone feel so safe by referring to them as with their pronouns correctly. But in certain cultures, again, as I mentioned, it's a taboo topic. But again, it's just that simple question: what are your pronouns today? Really makes a difference. And again, the terminology inclusive, it's such a big word as well, just like our word diversity. So an educator, or an adult, or a caregiver could be saying, oh, we're being inclusive because we're asking someone else's pronouns, or because we have LGBTQ2S books displayed in the book in the center. But what does that really do if you're not talking about it, if you're not putting it into practice, if you're not using the right language, if not using the inclusive language, if you're not referring to the adults correctly or the pronouns correctly? What does showing a book, displaying a book in your environment really do? What does it really say?
Right.
And yeah, so I could keep going and going and going, but
I know,
those are
no,
the
it's
top.
good. It's an interesting. I mean, I think I'll speak for myself. I think we're all learning. We're all, changing and evolving, and we don't always know the exact right thing to say, and sometimes it trips us up. But I think the sincerity of asking questions is an important step. I think that for us. In our homes, a sense of belonging is the most important. Like, we're talking about really young children primarily in our homes, but we do range up higher as well. And we do have great diversity in terms of family structure. We have, two moms, two dads, one parent, all kinds of grandparents raising children, all kinds of different structures. We have children identifying culturally differently, and in terms of their identity differently. And so people don't always know the right thing, but I think if you're open and you ask the questions, the other people will tell you, and we can use that to be their guide. But in general, I would say in our homes, one of the ministry how does learning happen core foundations is belonging. And we really do take that seriously in all our homes, and our providers do an amazing job at really ensuring that families feel welcome and ensuring that children feel welcome in their homes. And so I guess if they have questions, there are resources to reach out to, and take the lead from parents as well in terms of their own children and some of these issues that we talked about today. But I think that the openness and the focus on belonging is really a really great first step, I think. And I think we do a really good job en masse at having very inclusive and homes where belonging is a big piece of that. And we see that through our children. So thank you again for being our Mr. Reader and joining us, and for teaching us a lot today, and for continuing with us on this journey as we do learn. And for everybody on the call, Niña reading All Are Welcome is going to be up on our YouTube page, as well as in the Facebook link right after this. So thank you, Niña, and goodbye.
Thank you.